Offsides today, perhaps the most special edition we've ever had, and there's more than one reason for that. And we will share that with you as the show rolls along today as well. Also coming up on the show, we've got Kelly Ford from K Ford Ratings joining us on some little tournament talk. Our guy, Diesel Jake Crane, is traveling right now, so our typical Tuesday lunch hour chat with Jake.
Who does he think he is?
I know, right?
Not allowed, not during this time
Come on,
slot.
man.
Come on,
let's
Jake.
go. What are we doing? Guys.
More like jerk. No, I love Jake Crane. I really, really do.
That will be the last time that Jake Crane ever joins the show, ladies and gentlemen. That's unfortunately that's where we are. All right, guys. Coming up on the show today, who is fleecing their employer the most? How long do you stay ticked after a loss? We've got Kelly Ford at 420. We've got our Oregon-South Carolina March Madness preview. Don't worry, Clemson fans. Clemson, New Mexico coming your way tomorrow. We've got the top 5 at 5. We've got Mark and Diesel's top 5. The wheels are churning about what topic that might be at 5:40 p.m. this afternoon. And we have you here on the most interactive sports radio show anywhere. The Renewal by Anderson fan phone is there for you at 844-326-3663. And the text line is there at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go on the show. So, you never like to break news on days where there's other major breaking news. And that is exactly what has happened to us today here in the upstate of South Carolina. And that is because Clemson has filed a lawsuit against the ACC over exorbitant exit fees. You are holding us against our will.
I mean, we signed and agreed to this years ago, but now we don't like it.
Wait a minute. Who signed this? You did. But
that guy doesn't work here anymore.
These are exorbitant exit fees. What are we doing? This is incredible. Guys, look, the last thing I want to do on today of all days is to get Clemson fans upset with me. But your school signed the rules. You are upset that the likes of South Carolina is now beating you at sports they never did, right? You don't like that. Boy, it's amazing the effect money has on things, doesn't it? It's amazing. If we all had $1 million more in our life, boy, how our lives would look so different than they are right now. But Clemson, through their athletic department, is letting you know that they have a hard time competing when South Carolina is making $30 to $40 million more a year than they are. So, you talk to attorneys. I've talked to attorneys. Attorneys say, Mark, this ACC grant of rights is pretty ironclad. I don't see really a way out of this. This thing goes until 2036. We don't really see a way out. Ladies and gentlemen, the ACC members are essentially going to receive a prostate exam for the next 12 years. And that's what they've said. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do to get out of this. So Clemson does the next best thing. They attack parts of the grant of rights, and they try to deem those unconstitutional, unconscionable, unenforceable. All right? This is from Pete Thamel, ESPN, who I've had the privilege of meeting. He says, in a significant move that could continue to alter the rapidly shifting landscape of college sports, Clemson filed a lawsuit today against the ACC that portends its exit from the league. In a filing in the Court of Common Pleas in Pickens County, South Carolina, Clemson calls into question both the ACC's grant of rights and exit fees, calling the withdrawal penalty unconscionable and unenforceable. It also calls the ACC's view that the league's grant of media rights would allow the league to own Clemson's media rights after it left the league a nonsensical reading, wrong and inconsistent with the plain language of that agreement. Clemson asks in the suit for a declaration that the ACC would not own the rights to Clemson's games after Clemson ceases to be a member of the ACC. Clemson also wants the ACC exit fee, 3 times the operating budget, an estimated $140 million, ruled as an unenforceable penalty in violation of public policy. The total cost of the exit with the rights and the fee was cast as $572 million in Florida State's lawsuit. Now, I happen to know Okay, that I'm happy to know, Diesel, that you like to see good things happen to Clemson. This is
Generally
not
speaking, yeah.
Yeah, this is not something good that is happening to Clemson. And so we are not used to, in this area, people having objectivity, people being able to look at things and call a spade, and that's why our show has been so successful, because they know that they're going to get the truth, whether they can handle the truth or not, right here.
You can't handle the truth.
That's damn right. So the reality is, Diesel, you like good things to happen to Clemson, but you're not exactly, crying in your beer over what's happening to Clemson here. Why not?
Look, you signed the deal. If you thought this was a bad deal from the get-go, or if you had enough foresight to think, hey, maybe we would like some flexibility in this, you wouldn't have signed this massive grant of rights. You wouldn't have signed away everything. Look, we talk about this on the show all the time, Mark, when we talk about, just slice of life topics here. People don't honor commitments. People don't have a whole lot of honor in general anymore. Clemson, you should honor the commitment that you made to the ACC, just as they have honored, based on what it says in the contracts, their commitment to you. You made this bed. You've got to lie in it. But then again, Mark, all contracts are made to be broken.
$572 million is the total cost of
Yowza.
the exit with the rights, and the fee was as the fee was cast. And Clemson is saying this is unconscionable and unenforceable. Did you sign it? Yes, we did, but it's unconscionable and it's unenforceable. Is your name right there? Yes, it is, but this is where they get you. I've broken a lease before, guys. It's not fun. It's not fun. You know what they do now when you break a lease? They track you down, and somehow all of these complexes are tied together through some form of apartment national database. And so
it's all Jeff Goldblum. He said,
right.
Change your apartment, change the world.
Right. But then you go to the new apartment, Diesel, and before they let you sign, they go, no, 3 moves ago, you owed $400 to this place in Timbuktu, and you have not paid that $400.
That's because so many of these complexes are all owned by the same big investment groups.
Yeah.
So they're all connected by the same ownership.
We've all tried to get out of leases before. We've all done our best to get out of them. Okay. They are filled with tyranny. But the reality is, guys, if you signed your name to that dotted line, they got you by the short hairs, brother. They got you by the short hairs. Clemson, I'm sorry. I feel for you. I've been there.
So the deal is what the deal is as far as the media payout goes. And that was one of Florida State's big issues, was that the ACC has not done enough to increase the payout in the same ways that the SEC and the Big Ten have done. And that's kind of what was at the crux of Florida State's argument, that you have been asleep at the wheel, ACC, and not going out and doing what you can do to increase our overall profile and our ad revenues and et cetera, and then trickling it on down to the schools. Why, though? Why hasn't the ACC done that? In the face of watching the Big Ten and the SEC increase their payouts to $55, $60, $65 million, genuinely asking this question: who is asleep at the wheel at the top of the ACC, and why have they not been doing their damn jobs?
Well, Diesel, I would say the ACC convinced all these teams to sign a great deal. They for the ACC, this is incredible. You know that you can't afford to pay these teams what the SEC and the Big Ten are paying, and you managed to hoodwink all of your members into an inability to leave for 12 years. And guys, I don't know if you're aware of this, but every single time this comes up, and today it's come up in a more strong way than it has ever before, that we remind you that on August 2nd, 2021, okay, September, October, November, December, January, February, 2.5 years ago now, okay, your boy, okay, through sourcing at the very top of college football, put out a tweet that said Clemson and Florida State had reached out to the SEC about the possibility of joining. At the time, the SEC was not going to add Clemson and South Carolina. The only fish they would add to the pot is Notre Dame. They didn't feel Clemson and South Carolina moved the needle in terms of streaming rights at the time. Your boy put out that tweet. Well, you might remember that Clemson came out and said, no, wait, we're not talking about leaving the ACC. You might remember that Florida State's university president put out a letter on university letterhead decrying that statement from MARC RYAN as, let's see what it says in this article here, unconscionable, right? Decrying. And then what have you seen ever since I came out with that? Every single piece of news that you have read is all about Clemson wanting out, Florida State wanting out. The whimper has become a voice. The voice has become a cry. The cry has become a scream. The scream has become a megaphone. And now no one's tiptoeing around that anymore. Your boy here had a little bit of information that he wasn't supposed to have. And he had it before he was supposed to have it. Even Paul Feinbaum himself was fooled. Again, contractually obligated to share this with you. Every time there is news on Clemson or Florida State wanting out of the ACC, here's our boy Paul Feinbaum talking about yours truly.
The single most ridiculous was Clemson and Florida State. And I had David Hale on from ESPN yesterday, and he picked up on it. He said it came from I think a Greenville, South Carolina radio host reported that. Now, I don't know who this guy is in Greenville. Good for him that he reported it. But the fact that the president of Florida State had to respond to a stupid rumor that had not 1% chance of ever happening. I mean, we just got through talking about 2036 being the grant of rights for the ACC. Let me break it to Florida State. The SEC doesn't want you. I mean, you don't bring anything to the table.
Right.
Your football program has gone through about 3 coaches in the last couple of years. You're not very attractive. You're not going to bring anything to the league because the SEC already has Florida. And, I mean, Clemson is Clemson, but I don't see that happening. So for somebody to believe it and for the president to respond was the most laughable thing of the week.
Oh, well, not 1% chance of happening. Well, maybe there isn't 1% chance of them going to the ACC, Paul, but there is a 100% chance that they want out of the ACC. And when I had the scoop that they reached out to the SEC to kick the tires, my friends, that came from the very tippy top of college football. Every once in a while, okay, you're able to have conversations with people in the know, okay? Every once in a while in this business, you're able to do that. I always take those chances, okay? I always take those opportunities. Yet there were people that otherwise I had considered friends, like really screaming out against me. And today I say, shame on you to those people. Shame on you. Those true friends that stand by you through thick and thin, they said at the time, Mark, this seems believable to me. Why would Clemson and Florida State admit to this right now? They wouldn't. This seems very, very believable. This seems plausible. This seems like you're letting a cat out of the proverbial bag before they want it out of the proverbial bag. Isn't it amazing, though, that they wouldn't just be quiet about it? Because, Diesel, it was true. So why would you be so vociferous and, so
thou doth protest too much,
right,
Mark.
Exactly. Just be quiet. You don't need to put out a statement, okay? You know what I had was accurate. You know it. And guys, I just want you to realize that this station, okay, this station in this time slot was on top of something major before anybody else was, all right? Before anybody else was. So if you want the skinny, you come right here to the Fan Upstate. You get the skinny. That's how it goes. All right. In the meantime, I would do the same thing Clemson's doing. I would try to find a way, a loophole, anything to get out of this mess that I signed myself into. This is why I am so grateful. One of the many reasons I'm so grateful for my wife, because Angela goes through any contract, lease, etc., with a fine-tooth comb. Do you know anybody who does that? Like, you got a 13-page lease. Do you know anybody who reads every word on there? Like, I just say, hey, where do I sign?
My eyes cross when I read that stuff.
No, she goes through everything, and then without fail, she's got 3 or 4 things on there. Nope, not signing this. Nope, this is going to have to be amended. Like, every single time, there's a contract, there's a lease, there's anything like that, she's going through it. It's like Clemson and Florida State did the grant of rights, how we do leases. Man, you gave them everything. You gave them your life, your soul, your firstborn, your limbs. You gave the ACC everything, and you did not read the fine print.
Shout out to I don't know who they were using as lawyers. Maybe they were, I don't know. They had the best lawyers anybody's ever put together. They have Johnny Cochran. If the glove don't fit, you must acquit. They had that guy writing this contract. Genius. Stroke of genius from the ACC to lock this down so much.
What do you say? What do you guys say? All right, my friends. Coming up next on the show, we have a minor show announcement to share with you. It's just a token, really, a trifle. That's it. And it's coming your way next. Here on Offsides, we are the Fan Upstate.
Offsides with Mark Ryan. Only on the Fan Upstate.
It's Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. Great to have you guys with us on a Super Tuesday edition of the show. We check on the text line. Texter says, Mark, so Clemson has laid the foundation to leave the ACC now. Well, they need a court's approval, but they're trying to do that. If anyone was associated with Clemson now, I'd want to know which idiot signed this sham. So said Spur Daddy. Exactly. But like you and Diesel are saying, you signed it and you got to suck it up, Buttercup. Texter says Feinbaum was right. They've got a 1% chance of the actual lawsuit succeeding. Did any schools in the ACC vote against the current deal? So says Luke. Not that I'm aware of, Luke. Not that I am aware of. Guys, I can't believe that this moment is here. I can't believe it. There's a lot to share. There's a lot to share, and frankly, I don't know if I have the emotional energy to do it. All right? So I'm going to read you something that I wrote, and I at some point, I'm sure this week I'll get a tad emotional. I hope it's not right now. But I want to share this with you, and please know it comes from the heart, okay? For years, I've carried around a Post-it note with 3 stations on it. My dream was to one day land a full-time position at one of them. Today, that dream is realized. I am grateful and excited to share I've accepted a full-time host position at 97.1 The Ticket in Detroit, recently named one of the 5 best sports stations in the country. In this role, I will host throughout the schedule and do pre- and post-game shows for the Detroit Lions, Detroit Tigers, Detroit Red Wings, and the Detroit Pistons. Our buddy who you've heard on this station, Jim Costa, he drafts for the Detroit Lions in our media mock draft, held this role previously. Needless to say, I have big shoes to fill. Folks told me I wouldn't like Detroit, and you might remember a month ago, I left town for a week. I was up visiting Detroit. My employer here, Odyssey Greenville, encouraged me to go see it and spend a week up there. And I know some folks thought that I wouldn't like it. They were right. I didn't like it. I loved it. And so at that point, we decided to give it a go. Detroit is a city that's on fire with sports passion, and I can't wait to get going. My wife's family is in Detroit and the surrounding area too. Ton of family for my wife up in Michigan. And my wife, Angela, has been so incredibly supportive, during this process. There's a lot of people that would, there's frankly, when I moved here, there was a lot of people as a single guy that I couldn't date, because if they said, I would never leave, I would have to say to them, I don't know if I'm never going to leave. But I don't want to say, man, if a dream job comes calling, that you can't go, that you can't look at it. I felt like a part of me would die. And so many people, that you meet here say, well, I would never leave. And you understand why, right? Because I felt so lovingly and feel so lovingly for this place, that it's easy to see why one wouldn't leave. But my family of Odyssey Greenville and the Fan Upstate have been amazing to me, and I will miss them dearly. Mark Hendricks, Steve Sinacrapi, thank you for your unwavering belief in me. Diesel is chiefly responsible for getting us to 101,000 downloads last year, by far a station record. We broke our own station record in downloads that Diesel set, and I've learned so much from working with you, Diesel, so much from working with you. And to you, our listeners, thank you so much for welcoming me to this amazing place, the Upstate. It's been an unbelievable honor to be your afternoon drive host, and sometimes your roast. So sometimes we've roasted on here. To my Clemson fans and friends, you guys welcome me to your family with open arms. To my Gamecocks, 90% of you were great. The other 10% of you were the worst section of any fan base I've ever encountered in my life. But 90% of you were great. And to Ingles Markets, you were the best title sponsor a host could have. From the fiery debate to the fun, I wouldn't change a thing. Thanks for the privilege. The best decision I ever made was coming right here. To the Upstate. So with that, my friends, I let you know that our last show with Ingles Markets is going to be tomorrow. My last show with Ingles Markets is going to be tomorrow, not ours. I need to make sure I make that clear. My last show with Ingles Markets is going to be tomorrow. I invite all of you to come out and say hello. We're going to be at 8004 Warren H. Abernathy Highway in Spartanburg. And we'll have a full show from 3 to 7 p.m. tomorrow, and we hope to see you out there. All right? That's that store, 8004 Warren H. Abernathy Highway in Spartanburg, is my favorite Ingles Markets. It always shows out, always, every single time. And so when Ingles said to me, Mark, for your last show with us, you can pick any store you want, there was no doubt I was going to pick my friends in the Berg, and come up and see you guys one last time. So that last show is tomorrow. I will be hosting here through the end of the week. And if you are wondering what is going to come of this show, please know we will share that with you. Number one today in the top 5 at 5. We will share that with you. Number one today in the top 5 at 5. So coming your way, about an hour and a half from right now. How does that sound? So anyway, welcome your thoughts, welcome your calls, welcome your texts, your tweets, all of the above. I know it's shocking news. It's been shocking news to me. You know, this whole thing feels surreal. You know, it feels incredibly surreal. And the last couple of weeks just feel like I'm in kind of la la land, you know? But also please know that under no circumstances was I, looking to leave this place. Was my family looking to leave this place? We love it here. We love it here, And in order to leave, it had to be a truly dream job, unbelievable opportunity. Why? Because I consider this job to be a dream job opportunity. My problem, if you want to call it a problem, is I've got this little birdie on my shoulder, and she's called ambition. And I have carried that Post-it note with me that has 3 stations on it. 97 won the ticket, 670 the score in Chicago, and WFAN in New York City. And I always said, and I talked to my wife about this long before we ever talked to that station or got an offer. I talked to my wife about it, and she said to me, "Babe, that's your dream. I know how hard you work." And she said, "When, not if, one of those 3 big boys comes calling, you have my full support." And then lo and behold, guys, and I got some stories to tell you here in a minute, but Diesel, I want to thank you for all of your support, man. And I appreciate you more than I could ever put into words. We had a little get together, kind of a goodbye party at the radio station today. Rob was there. Didn't see Lonzo, but Rob Brown was there.
Well, Lonzo's out on vacations.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay.
He may be traveling.
Okay.
I genuinely don't know.
Didn't see Lonzo, but Rob Brown was there. It was great. And Diesel, you were out there as well. It was great to see you and the guys and Brandon and Cole Bryson and everyone out there as well. And it was just an awesome time. I feel, guys, exhausted because this has just been a lot. There was yes, Diesel. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say there's a lot of people who just wandered in for the free food. They smelled the delicious food from Moe's, and they said, "Something's going on over there. Let's go take a look."
Yeah, that's exactly what it was, man. Exactly what it was. So, it's been surreal, guys. And what was crazy is I got some stories to tell you guys about this. Like, this was known and announced by my company a month ago. Known and announced. But I was asked not to announce it on the air until the final week, right? And we were, going through contracts and signing contracts. And the last segment when I shared with you, like, my wife goes through every line. I mean, she goes through every line, contracts, leases, etc. And I realized there's some overzealous people out there. There was a dude, I think, what's the name of that message board? Not the... it's a Gamecock message board. I just don't remember which one it was. But a guy on a Gamecock message board, posted that he heard through the grapevine that, I would be leaving. And I didn't deny that on any of the posts. Look, guys, it's hard to keep things in-house like that for a month when it's announced with the whole company. So I know most of you guys didn't know. It's kind of the worst kept secret in town. But I want to share with you guys kind of a little bit about, what's been going on. And how this has been just an absolute whirlwind. The last few months, it's just been insane. Like, it's just been incredible. Like, I don't even know which way is up anymore. In October, CBS Sports Radio announced that they had a full-time opening. And you guys know I've been doing the weekend shows there, and I applied for it. And then, I had an interview with their higher ups. It went well, but didn't know anything. And like a month later, I still didn't know anything. And I'm like, man, am I still in the running for this? So I reach out to the person I had the interview with, and they said to me, this was in November. They said, "Mark, the phrasing was, you are most assuredly in the final mix of candidates." And I was like, wow. So I have Thanksgiving last year, and I'm like, I'm in the final mix of candidates for a national show with CBS Sports Radio. I brought my boss in here. He was incredibly supportive. They asked me to do some shows that kind of were a challenge with the local show we have, and everyone here was totally supportive of that. And then we get to December, and I'm not telling anybody. Diesel doesn't know about it. Nobody knows about it. My direct boss knows about it, but no one else knows about it. And I'm hosting a show on December 18th, of the Christmas we just had, right? And I get a text from the boss man at CBS Sports Radio in New York City. And he says, Mark, do you have a minute to talk? And I didn't because we were on the air. Okay. But we do that little interview replay segment. And I went out and I called him during that time. And here's what he said to me. He goes, Mark, the decision came down to you and one other guy. And we chose the other guy. And they said, I'm going to tell you why. We really felt like the network needed a presence in the Midwest. And the host is from Milwaukee. And he's a great dude. And his name is Bart Winkler. And you'll hear his promos on this station. And I know him. And he's been great to me. And you'll hear his show on this station. I finished second for that job. Finished second. And so like Christmas comes and I am a wreck because I put everything I had into that opportunity, right? Put everything I had. And it wasn't that I wasn't thrilled to be here. I was. But it's like these positions that you've dreamed of are right there in front of your face. Like you've been dreaming about this your whole life. It's right there. You can taste it. And then you didn't get it, right? You didn't get it. And so like, I'll be honest with you, Christmas and New Year's was kind of tough because I felt like, man, I was right there. I was so close. Then this position in Detroit came open and I didn't know this program director up there from Adam. And I applied and lo and behold, it seems like there's like a small network of program directors and they all know each other and they all speak to each other. And I got the sense that some good words had been said about me at pretty high levels. I'm incredibly grateful for that. And the next thing I know, I got an interview there. And the next thing I know, I have a second interview there. And then he asks to speak to my boss here. He asks for permission to speak to my boss, Mark Hendricks. And, like I didn't know what was going on. I knew I was a candidate. That's all I knew. On February 9th, they made the offer to me. The week of Valentine's Day, I drove up to Detroit to check it out. Like I said, man, I loved it. The suburbs up there remind me of Greenville. And the downtown Detroit, there is no greater difference between perception and reality than what the perception of downtown Detroit is versus the reality of what it actually is. The perception is it's a bunch of boarded up buildings, rough spot. The reality is it's beautiful. Gorgeous stadiums, beautiful downtown, greenery. I was there and I felt like I was in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. It's like, this is Detroit? This isn't what I've heard about Detroit. What's going on here? Now it was cold as balls and it was like 34 degrees. And, I'm walking around with the heaviest jacket I own and I'm saying to them that I'm going to need a better jacket. Right. And I said to somebody there, I said, 34 in February, is that normal? And somebody walking down the street goes, oh, we feel good if we get 30s in February. We feel good. I'm not feeling good right now. No, definitely not feeling good. But it was, guys, it was an awesome trip, an awesome experience. And then I came back and I knew I had a decision to make and prayed about it, talked to the family, talked to the wife. And in the end, guys, like it was a swing that we felt like we had to take, you can deal with taking a swing and the swing doesn't work out, like in other words, if I take the swing and it doesn't work out, okay, it didn't work out. I took the swing, right? But I couldn't live with not taking the shot. I couldn't live with not taking the swing. So, and that's, and when you have the loving support of your wife and your family, then you can take shots like that. Now, my wife, Angela, her whole family's up there. Like her family's in Detroit. Her mom's family's in Detroit and surrounding areas. So like when I say, guys, it had to be the exact right job offer to come open. This was the exact right job. It's where she's from. They put out our industry awards last month. This was the number 5 sports station in the country. And it's just, It's like a heritage station there, man. And it's just incredible. Now, for me personally, I want you to know that I've got a ton of sadness leaving this place, a ton of sadness. I could have totally seen retiring here, and who knows? I still might, who knows? You never know what's going to happen or how things shake out. But it's been an absolute honor and a privilege to be your afternoon drive host every single day. Just an absolute honor and a privilege. I've loved getting to connect with each and every one of you. Diesel, I've loved working with you each and every day, even when you kick my ass. I kept the bigger picture in mind, and I appreciated so much all you've done for the show and how supportive that you've been over the process, and just really a really good on-air partner. I've always felt good about the product that you and I have on the air,
Yeah. I think the most pressing question is, do you think you're going to cry on your last show?
Oh, man.
On Friday at 6:55 p.m. Are you going to cry?
Oh, man. That is the $1 million question, isn't it?
No, it's been a fantastic experience. How long have we been hosting together? 4 years now? 3 years?
I want to say 2021
Okay.
we started. So 3 years now.
And your very first show on this station was you and I together. You were remote from Houston. You came on with me, and we just had
you said I was hopped up on Colombian
booger sugar. Colombian Bam Bam. And we had this instant spark and this ability to go back at each other quickly. There are some people in this business who don't, get it. And to me, getting it is understanding that all of this is for entertainment purposes.
Right.
This is all supposed to be fun. Yes, it's informative. Yes, we keep people apprised with what's going on. Yes, we tell people what's going on in our lives, but it's all meant to be fun. And when you find a host that you speak the same language with, it makes things so easy to do better radio. And I think you and I, over the past 3.5 plus years, have really elevated what we have on the station, elevated what we have in this market, and it sets a high bar for the next show coming up on this station.
Man, does it ever? And that is most certainly the case. So I know you guys want to know what's coming up next on the show. What is the next iteration of the afternoon drive show on the Fan Upstate going to be? And I'm proud to tell you that the next host of the afternoon drive show and the upstate of South Carolina, his name is 5:10 p.m., my friends. 5:10 p.m. is when that is going to be.
5:10 p.m. That's a weird name.
Isn't that?
Yeah.
Who is that? Who is that? We will we look forward to sharing that with you guys coming up in the top 5 at 5 today. Now, it's up to you. We can talk about this more if you want. We can get back to sports. The last thing I ever want to do is just spend 4 hours talking about nothing. You know what I mean? But the reality is we can do whatever you guys would like to do. Again, last live show on location is tomorrow at Ingalls Markets, and that is 8004 Warren H. Abernathy Highway in Spartanburg, inside the Corner Cafe. We hope you guys will come out. We hope you'll say hello, goodbye, whatever it is that you would like to do, and we will be out there for sure. All right? So I love you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. Please know that in no way, shape, or form is this this position is, or I feel like this city is better than, or there's none of that going on. I love it here. I will always love it here. You guys always mean so much to me. To me, this station, one of the 3 or 4 best in America, was a swing I had to take. And I hope you guys can understand that. I'm honored to get the opportunity, just like I'm honored to have been able to be your afternoon drive company every single day. All right? Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel. We'll be back right after this. We are the Fan Upstate. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. We go to the phones, and Rich, loyal listener, joins us on the line. Hey, Rich, appreciate the call, pal. You're Offsides.
Hey, Mark, I'm not surprised, but the first thing, congratulations.
Oh, man, thank you so much.
I'm really happy for you. And you know what? My girlfriend's from Michigan. And you know, me being a Florida guy, I mean, I've been all over Michigan. You're going to love it. It is nothing like the public believes.
That's, you know,
Nothing.
like that was what I experienced, Rich, when I went up there. You know, like, you know, some of the, let's just say some of the haters have been like, oh, he got booted to Detroit. And it's just like, bro, like, have you been there? Like, it falls into the don't knock it until you try it category. And, dude, I was there a month ago, and I was just like, what about this place is not to like? Like, please tell me. Somebody tell me what I'm not supposed to like about this. Stadiums are beautiful. Downtown is a lot of green space. Suburbs remind me of Greenville. I was just really, really blown away by it, much more so than I was expecting to be, honestly.
Well, I have a conceptual question for you. To add a little humor, because this is well deserved. But how can you not take a guy named Diesel to Detroit unless he's your successor?
Funny.
That's the first thing I thought of. I said, "Are you kidding me?" Because I know some personalities. You know, your hit list about where you wanted to go. There's a legend here from the Score that went to Detroit, and everybody laughed. But it was Mike North. You've probably heard of him.
Yeah.
He's crazy. And I don't think he's with 97.1, but he went there, and he's a regular guy that started out in a hot dog stand and just became a call-in guy, kind of like me, only he wasn't an athlete. He had a hot dog business, and he became the top-paid guy at the Score. So, you know, and you know, Mitch Rosen is the top guy there. You probably know who he is.
Sure.
And the guy they got from Milwaukee is Aces. I would not feel bad because he's based in Milwaukee. If they want a Midwest presence, and we're a guy who's grounded in the Midwest, he's outstanding. So
yeah.
I would not feel badly about that at all.
Oh, thank you, man. I got over that pretty quickly. It was like, Rich, I got to be honest with you, man. I was crushed about that. Again, not because I'm not happy here, but because, like, you know, your whole life, you know, I would have been hosting on the same network as Jim Rome Monday through Friday, right? And so, like, you're crushed about it. But it was like God had something else in mind for me, you know?
Well,
and,
you're right.
And he didn't. You know, God didn't make me wait long, you know? Like, that was December 18th. First conversation with Detroit was January 12th.
Yep. Well, let me tell you this. I knew you were off to the races when in the last 60 days, because you've gotten quite a few national gigs, it's almost impossible to get in on your national. I can't even call in. And not that I think I need preferential treatment. I don't. I understand the way it works. But when you get that kind of activity and that kind of acceptance on the national show, you can pretty much do whatever you want.
Man, thank you so much.
I wasn't shocked. The fact that you're happy about it, I'm not going to ask anything about Diesel. I'm sure you'll set things straight at your 5 o'clock, 5 at 5. But I got to tell you, he's exceptional. And I laughed when I heard you're going to Detroit because you're close to me. We'll finally meet.
There you go.
Chicago is down the road, and I can show you some things in Chicago that nobody's ever seen. So you got to get it. You got to get here with some of our fellow Gators.
You're the man.
But
Rich,
anyway,
thank you so much, buddy.
Yeah, hey, great news. Congratulations. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting, guys? I'll share this with you. Diesel, do you think my followers, this doesn't matter, but it's interesting to you and I working in the business. Do you think my followers since the announcement have gone up or gone down?
I'm going to say they've gone up.
They've gone down.
Really? People are unfollowing.
Unfollowing.
Wow.
Yeah, they're unfollowing, and I get it.
Probably bad parenting, if you ask me.
I get it, Diesel, because it's an announcement that my feed is going to start being Detroit stuff, right?
That's true.
So that's what it is. So I don't take any offense to that. I invite all you guys to stay on, of course, you know, and I'm going to make sure I'm still talking Clemson and South Carolina and mixing that in to the coverage. You know, like I've kept followers from all of my stops. I've had followers from Atlanta and the Florida Panhandle and Tampa and Houston, right? And all Orlando, they're all still on there. And I try to, you know, talk about things that they're interested in every so often as well. So anyway, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Got a lot more to share about that. We'll take your calls. We'll take your text. We'll do all of the above. It's Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate. What's good, my friends? This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Thrilled to have you guys with us. Here's how you can take part in the show. You can give us a ring at 844-FAN phone. That's 844-326-3663 on the Renewal by Anderson fan phone. The text line is there for you at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go on the show. Again, 1 hour from right now, in the top 5 at 5, the number one on today's top 5 at 5 will be the new announcement on what's going on in Afternoon Drive here on the Fan Upstate. We can check on some of your messages coming in on the show right now. Texter says, Mark, we appreciate you so much for all the kind words and great content. You help me be a better man. Bless you and your future. Man, I really appreciate that, JD. Thank you so very, very much. Texter says, always be you and who you are. That's what's so great about you. Thank you so much, Texter. Texter says, congratulations, Mark, heading to Detroit Rock City. Get it, man? So says Spur Daddy. Spur Daddy, thank you so very much. Texter says, congratulations, Mark. Well-deserved. Best of luck in your new endeavor. I've really enjoyed listening to you for the last few years. So says Drew L. Texter says, Drew, thanks so much, man. Drew LeBlanc. Drew LeBlanc gave us the rap snacks, I think, right? Drew, I'll never forget that little bit that we did. You know, like it's hard to host in the upstate in the off season because you're trying to find ways to connect with your audience and there's not a lot out there. And Drew brought us like the whole case of every flavor of rap snacks. Got to be honest with Drew, most of the flavors sucked. Okay. But some of them were really good. There were also like genetically modified ingredients. So I'm still waiting for some sort of metal structure to protrude from my dome. But we ate every single bag, some with a smile, some with not. And that was such a fun bit that we did with your help. Yeah,
Mark, I don't know if you noticed that. I don't know if your wife has had the heart to tell you, but ever since we did the rap snacks, you've been growing a tail.
Yes. Oh, okay. That explains it. That's what I'm
that
sitting
little
down
that
on
little
every time.
nub that wags when you're happy.
Okay.
That's because of rap snacks.
Okay. I just thought it was something to be proud of. That's all. Okay. So Texter says, I just started listening recently. I love the show. Let's see. I turn on every day at 3:00 for you guys. Good luck. Mark, well, it's nice to know you met your wife here, or did you meet her in Detroit? I met my wife here, guys. Like, this is the best move I ever made, was coming here. And a big part of that is my wife, but the other part of that is getting to work here and getting to host for you guys and getting to work with the great people at Odyssey Greenville. You know, and let me tell you a quick story, if I can. I guess this is turning into, the fireside chat version of Offsides today. But, like a lot of you guys saw, so people said to me, like once they saw Angela, they said, Mark, I thought you were dating a blonde girl. I swear I thought you were dating a blonde girl. Well, that was not a great relationship. If I'm honest with you, not a great relationship. And, my family was worried that like I was going to get too sucked in and I wouldn't have the balls to leave that. And that wasn't going to happen to me. That wasn't going to happen to me. I was going to have the balls to leave that. Okay. And so I did. And then I was single. And this blew me away, guys. Right. So I was here like, at this time, almost 3 years I was here. And I started dating and I met a real cool girl and she lived in Asheville. Okay. She lived in Asheville and I liked her. And we started dating. And it was getting to that point in your dating, like 4 or 5 weeks, where like typically you commit or, you decide you're going to commit and be exclusive or you're not going to date anymore. And I liked her and she liked me. And, I was dating and whatever. And the very last date that I was going to go on before committing to this girl who lived in Asheville was Angela. That was the last date I was going to go on. And I almost didn't go on the date because I was kind of almost ready to commit to the other person. And I went on the date with Angela. An hour into my date with Angela, she could tell something was bothering me. And I was ticked off because I knew that Angela, like I was going on the date to kind of like, okay, I went on the last date. Now I'm going to commit to this other girl. An hour into the date with Angela, I'm like, I got a problem. I got a real problem. I met the two best people for me that I've met here the whole time I've been here, and I've met them at the same time. Now what am I going to do? And I went on a second date with Angela, loved it. Went on a third date with Angela, started to love her. And then it just became obvious that, boy, this poor girl in Asheville had done nothing wrong. She had done nothing wrong at all. But whereas I was looking at her and was saying to myself, I could have a relationship with her, I was looking across from Angela and saying, that's my wife. That is my wife. Like you only feel that once. I never understood what people meant when they said, when you know, until I met Angela. Like everyone else, I'm like, yeah, I don't understand. I've never, like, that's a foreign feeling to me. When you know. I don't know what that means. I always said that. Then I met Angela and it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like that's my girl. That's my girl. And she always will be. Okay. 844-326-3663 is the number to get to us on the show. If you are just tuning into the show, the announcement we made at 3:20 today is that my last show here is Friday. And I am taking a full-time host position at Odyssey Station 97.1 The Ticket in Detroit, we'll be making an announcement as to the future of this show coming up in the top 5 at 5 an hour from right now. Tallahassee Todd in Piedmont joins us next. Hey, Tallahassee Todd, what's good, man? You're offsides.
What's happening, Cat Daddy? Just a man in the hour, too sweet to be sour, brother. What's going on?
Well, I want to steal that from you, man. The man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. Tallahassee
Yes,
Todd,
sir.
that is awesome, man. That is awesome. What's good, brother? Good to hear from you.
Man, I'm gonna miss you, man. But do I tell you, I got some family up there, man, in Detroit. Stay warm up there, man.
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to succeed at that. I'm not going to be staying warm. Okay, I'm going to be freezing my petunias off, and I'm gonna when it's that cold, I'm going to be saying to myself, "Why did I do this again?" You know, believe me, when you have it, Tallahassee Todd, as good as I've had it here, like I've prepared myself for the days, not minutes, not hours, but days, where I'm saying to myself, "Why did I do this again? What am I doing? Why did I do this?" Because I'm leaving something great. And whenever you're leaving something great, that is hard, right? That is hard. But I hope you understand, Tallahassee Todd, like this is a swing man that I got to take. If I get to do the post-game shows for the Detroit Lions, Detroit Tigers, Detroit Red Wings, Detroit Pistons, how can I pass that up, man? You know, like I don't know how to turn that down. You know what I mean?
Well, man, I tell you what, man, change is good. It was a good change. By the way, I get off work at 3 o'clock, about 2:30 tomorrow. You'll be seeing Todd in person tomorrow because I work in Grill. So coming from Grill to English, about 30 minutes on 85. So I'll be seeing you tomorrow, man, because normally I don't make trips to Spartanburg, but you know what, brother? I'm going to come and see you, man.
Tallahassee Todd, that means the world to me, man. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Again, the last show on location that we will have. I'm on the air through the end of the week. But the last live on location show we will have will be tomorrow at Ingalls Markets in Spartanburg. That's at 8004 Warren H. Abernathy Highway in Spartanburg. You know, I always tell you guys, come out and say hello. This one feels like come out and say goodbye. Unfortunately, that's what it is. But I hope we have a chance to come out and hang. You know, I hope you swing by, come out. It would be awesome to have a chance to see you guys. Thank you so very, very much. Let's see here. Texter says, Mark hit the transfer portal. Hope you got the NIL money. I will miss you. It is better if I hate you on the way out, jerk. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Texter says, good luck, Mark. Texter says, congrats, Mark. Whoever is replacing you has a very tough act to follow. Say it louder for the folks in the back. Texter says, I missed it. Mark, are you leaving us? Texter says, Mark, Godspeed. Hope your new position exceeds your expectations. Thanks for all the enjoyment you have brought to my afternoons. So says Trey in Kentucky. Texter says, Mark, sad to hear that you're going, man. We didn't agree on most things, but I loved your show and your energy. I always listened, and it's no secret that you are excellent at your job and you're destined for big things. Happy trails. Texter, that means the world to me, man. That is so nice for you to say. I want you to know that, like, the things we did here were big things, okay? Like, this is big things. This is the big deal, right? I'll never forget the first show I got to do for CBS Sports Radio here. I was excited because I got my old comrade Booger McFarland to come on for an interview spot. And I was telling my boss, Mark Hendricks, how excited I was that I got Booger to come on for CBS Sports Radio. And Mark Hendricks goes to me, forget that, man. The big time's right here. We're the big time. We're the big time. Don't you forget it. And I was like, you know what, man? You're damn right. You're damn right. Like, we've done some really, really big things here. Really big things here. And it's been hard, guys, the last month knowing this was coming. And then, you know, as you guys know, I'm like Jim Carrey in the movie Liar, Liar. I cannot tell a lie, you know? So it was like, you know, you're knowing what's going on in the background. You're knowing at home we've got boxes piling up, and I'm coming here and doing a show every day and not able to share with you guys. Everyone at my company knew. Wasn't able to share with you guys, you know? So anyway, guys, I just want you to know how much I value and appreciate you. And we do want to get to some sports today. Is that okay? Like, like if the show just all becomes like this, sad fest or love fest, that's not what you came here for. You didn't tune in today to hear just flowery things about Mark, or Mark, you suck, get off the air. I don't want you out. Believe me, I've already gotten some of those messages from no messages like that from anyone but the bottom 10% of the Gamecock fan base. 90% of the Gamecock fan base has been great. Okay. For the bottom 10%, I had a video ready. Remember, I had a month to prepare for this. Okay. A month to prepare because I knew it was coming. So I found this video that's like a guy walking to his own plane. And it's 8 seconds, and he says, "You'll never be criticized by those doing more than you. You'll only be criticized by those doing less than you." And I'm sending those to all the people that are hitting me with hate today. All right, because that's true, and the same goes true for you guys. You'll never be criticized for those doing more by those doing more than you. You'll only be criticized by those doing less than you. Right? That's the way that it goes. We love you. We appreciate you. And we are rocking it out. Can you guys come out to the Ingalls Market Show tomorrow? 8004 Warren H. Abernathy Highway in Spartanburg. If I've never met you, I'd love to have the privilege. If I have met you before, I'd love to hang one last time. It would be a dream. It would be an honor. I hope we get to do that together one last time. All right, my friends. Back to sports. What do you say? Kelly Ford, K Ford Ratings, joins us next on the show to give you the skinny, to give you the breakdown of the NCAA tournament. Why is everyone listing Clemson and South Carolina on upset alert? We'll tackle that next here on the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate.
Some of the bumpers have some sound effects behind it. Some of them don't. Okay. That's what I was saying earlier to Hendricks. I'm like trying to keep the music and sound design to a minimum so the bed music can play through.
I'm glad we got a caller.
Good job.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm glad we got a caller in that segment so I can see how you did that. So that play button or that second button.
Hey, we're still on the air? We're still on the air?
Whatever's easiest
Good
for
check.
you to reach. I prefer to do it off the screen.
Okay.
That's just me personally. So go ahead and grab another music bed and drop it in over there.
You're right, Diesel. Y'all have all these damn mice. Insert.
Hey, you can grab
Which one do you want?
grab this altar bridge.
Right here?
Either one. Favorite player too. And then take it out and insert.
No, I think you're right. Once I
to have you guys with us, and I want to share this with you. Joining us right now is a great friend of the show. He joins us each and every week during the football season. And joins us now as well to talk some tournament. Our guy Kelly Ford, K Ford Ratings, joining us here on Offsides, the Fan Upstate. Kelly, Indianapolis, Indiana, what's good, my friend?
Hey, Mark, I'm doing well. It's March Madness time. It's hard to beat college football Saturdays in the fall, but if there's going to be anything that can get close for me, it's the opening rounds of March Madness. I'm doing great. How are you?
Man, I'm doing super well, super well. So can you give us kind of, Kelly, a primer on March Madness here? Like a primer on what we're looking at and who you like, and what are some of your favorite numbers surrounding the madness right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So all these numbers I posted on X at KFord Ratings. You can check it all out right there. But for your listeners, Mark, who are familiar with my stuff in football season, as you mentioned, it won't come to any surprise that I do like to view this competition through the lens of predictive analytics. It's not the end all be all, just like it isn't in football either. It can't capture everything. Teams go on special runs, they get hot, all that stuff. But viewing the tournament through the lens of predictive analytics can give us a good baseline understanding and expectation. What do we expect to see here? And of course, you're going to get the madness, you're going to get the upsets and all that. But for me, as I'm looking at this, kind of take it quickly region by region. If we go to the East, UConn, of course, the number 1 overall seed, they are the number 2 team right now in my power ratings overall. So UConn's a really, really strong team. They are my favorite to win the East region. But Mark, the team with the second best chance to win the East region is actually a team that UConn might face in the Sweet 16, the number 4 seed Auburn. Out of the SEC, a really, really good basketball team. They're in my top 5 nationally in the power ratings. So I think UConn, you could argue they maybe got screwed a little bit with the draw that they got. So those are the 2 teams that I've got my eye on in the East. If you go to Houston's region in the South, they are my number 1 team overall. I've got them with a 52% chance to make the Final Four, a 22% chance to win it all. That's my number 1 best chance to win the tournament, the Houston Cougars. And much like the East region, Duke is actually the team with the second best chance to make the Final Four out of this region, and they are the 4 seed in that region as well. So a couple really intriguing potential Sweet 16 matchups in both of those. If we go out west, Arizona as a 2 seed, I actually have higher power rated than the number 1 seed North Carolina. So Arizona with a 36% chance to make it to the Final Four is my favorite in the West. And then in the Midwest, where seeds have actually held here, my number 1 and number 2 teams in this region are Purdue Boilermakers, the number 1 seed, and the Tennessee Volunteers there as the number 2. I expect those 2 by the numbers to meet up in what should be a great Elite 8 game. I've got Purdue with a 38% chance to reach the Final Four. So that's how I'm viewing each of these regions. If you look at the overall chances to win the tournament, Houston, by my numbers right now, 22%, UConn, 15%, Purdue, 12%. Nobody else has a double-digit chance to make or to cut down the nets in Phoenix here in a few weeks. Just quickly after that, Arizona, Auburn, Tennessee, Iowa State, all with better than a 5% chance before you get into that group of less than 5%. North Carolina, Duke, Creighton, Alabama, Illinois, Marquette, Baylor, Gonzaga, Kentucky, all those teams among the top 4 or 5 seed lines, and certainly all decent favorites to advance deep into the tournament.
Kelly, who are some of the top teams in your power ratings who did not get into the NCAA tournament by virtue of, most of them, sure, by losing their conference championship game or not making it to their conference championship game? Who do you see as the best teams who didn't get in, and how much better power rated are they than some of the teams that did?
Yeah, so if I pull up quickly my website for that one, Diesel, give me 1 second because I got to go to k4ratings.com where I have this graphic posted. Really, my power rating for all 362 teams, as of yesterday. The best teams that did not make it to the NCAA tournament, St. John's is a team that I have power rated in the top 30. Of course, they were among the first 4 out and have since declined the NIT invitation, I do believe, to participate in that championship. But as I keep looking through here at some of the other teams that failed to make the tournament, give me 1 second as I look. Let's see who else missed out on this here. Cincinnati is a team that missed out. Villanova missed out on the championship or on the tournament. All those teams are power rated in the top 40. Those are the teams by my numbers. Oklahoma as well missed out. They're my top 40. Pittsburgh, top 40. So there's 5 teams right there that I had power rated in the top 40 that did not make it to the NCAA tournament this year.
Kelly Ford, K Ford Ratings, joining us here on Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. Kelly, ESPN.com is really burning my brownies, buddy, and I do not like my brownies burnt. Can you help me out with this, Kelly? Why are Clemson and South Carolina two of the trendiest upset picks in the first round, so much so that it doesn't even seem like New Mexico over Clemson, Oregon over South Carolina would be upsets anymore? Do your numbers say those are two of the likeliest upsets?
Yeah, Mark, your listeners probably won't like this, but my numbers do agree with that. Let's look at Clemson first. I have a 51% chance that New Mexico takes down Clemson in the first round.
Wait. Stop. How? What? Give me the why there. Why?
So much like football, Mark, there's going to be things that we can't account for with some of these basketball teams when you're generating a power rating. But as you look at Clemson and you look at South Carolina, probably even more so, even though that game I actually have it as a 50-50 chance with Clemson, South Carolina and Oregon. But if you're looking at these teams and you look at them from a purely power rating standpoint, like the predictive elements of basketball, the things that we can track, the things that we can on a day in, day out basis try to use to predict future performance. I'm looking at South Carolina right now. In my adjusted defense numbers, they're in the mid 50s, mid 60s, or almost 60 in my defensive unit ranking. If I go to my offense, they're a little bit better. They're about number 40. But either way, you're looking at a top 40, top 50 team overall on both sides of the basketball. So when that's where you are on either side, of course you have some luck and other things that go into it. But when your base level of talent, by my numbers, is in that range, you're going to be one of the teams that is susceptible to an upset. Clemson, they've got a pretty good offense. They're a top 25 offense for me, but they really struggle on the defensive side. By my numbers, they come in around number 70. So for me, Clemson certainly has an issue on the defensive side of the ball. South Carolina is a little bit more balanced and well-rounded, but they're still kind of a cut below even the mid-tier NCAA tournament team. So both of these teams, Clemson and South Carolina, great resumes. They've won a lot more games this year, a lot of big games this year, than the power ratings would suggest. And South Carolina fans have probably said, yeah, Kelly, you've told us that about football before too. I know the 2022 season was certainly an overachieving year. 2023 came back to expectations a little bit. But that's what I'm looking at for these teams. Their raw talent on either end of the floor just doesn't quite measure up to some of their opponents that they're facing in the first round, even though they are seeded better than their opponents here.
Kelly Ford joins us here on Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel. Kelly, what do your numbers say about a team like NC State, for example, who got really hot exactly when it mattered? They went on that fantastic run. They won the ACC tournament. What do your numbers say about a team like that who necessarily hasn't performed that way all season long?
Yeah, NC State's an interesting one and certainly a bid thief. We had so many of them this year in the NCAA tournament during conference championships. If I look here, I've got NC State right now in my power ratings. I'm trying to find them on the website. I've got the number 62. So NC State is not a team that my numbers right now are expecting to make a deep run. I've got them with a 35% chance to win their opening round game against Texas Tech. But if they continue to play at the level that they played at last week in the ACC tournament, then certainly I'd say they probably have a better than 35% chance. But their overall power rating kind of body of work, if we're looking at how this team has played over the course of the season, they got hot at the right time, like you said. And that's one of the things that makes March Madness so special is all it takes is getting hot and winning 2, 3, 4 games more in a row than people expected. And you can find yourself dancing late into this tournament. So NC State should be taken seriously. I think they will. I think Texas Tech is a lot better than a lot of people think they are. They look at their record in conference and say, well, they kind of struggled a little bit. The Big 12 was really, really good. So I've got Texas Tech as my number 25 overall power rated team. They're on that 6 line, and my numbers do like them. 65% chance to beat NC State in the first round.
So, Kelly, I love you, right? And I gotta butter you for the fall here, okay? A year ago, I busted your hump a lot about, you kept having Texas in the top 5 or 6, and they kept losing every week. This year, you and every other analytics service says South Carolina sucks. Every time you put your top 40 teams, they're never in there. Kelly, Diesel and I, my partner, sparred about this. Diesel would say to me, so Mark, you're saying you know more than the analytics services. I'm like, I'm telling you, they're wrong. Jay Billis commented about this the other day. He said, look, the The polls and the standings love South Carolina. The analytics services do not. So, I understand that Auburn is in the top 10 in offensive and defensive efficiency. South Carolina is not in the top 40 of either. I don't know why. I don't understand why. I just watched them play and beat Tennessee, play and beat Kentucky, play and beat Florida, finish tied for second place in the SEC. I'm telling you, Kelly, you're wrong. Why don't you make a change to reflect the fact that you're wrong about this?
So hey, Mark, you know this. I'm open to the feedback, the constructive criticism, if you will. And we've gone back and forth, like you said, on teams on the football side too. Basketball, it's no different in a lot of respects. You're going to have outliers. Any model is going to have outliers. You're going to have teams that buck the trend, teams that when you look at a consistent set of data, whatever it is you're looking at, whatever your inputs are, if you look consistently across 362 teams at the set of data and you draw your conclusions, you get your output, your power ratings from that data, there are going to be a select number of teams who are going to be outliers that don't fit the trend, right? Whether it's a positive they don't fit the trend or a negative they don't fit the trend. It is very possible, and I would say even likely, as I look at South Carolina, my number 51 overall power rated team, and I say, they're an outlier. They are performing at a level consistently this year. They are performing at a level better than what the number 51 team in my power ratings should be performing at on a night in and night out basis. What we can't do, what we should not do, and what I won't do is change my overall model, my overall formula, if you will, to generating these power ratings that on average do very, very well. Across the board, my absolute error, my margin of error is very respectable with some other power rating systems that are out there. And of course, Vegas is your benchmark. How far off of Vegas are you? And I'm happy with where my model is. South Carolina and some others are teams that don't fit that trend line, right? So it's not going to be wholesale changes that need to be made, but that's also why I always preface every conversation, Mark, with, and I've already said it here today, analytics and power ratings and predictive numbers, that's not the end all be all. It is the lens through which we can choose to view the sport, the competition, the tournament, whatever it is, at a baseline level. Then we need to be smart and use our eyeballs in terms of what we've seen and watched all year long and make our manual adjustments. Every single person is going to make their manual adjustments differently, but by looking at this through the power rating lens, we can all have a common understanding of realistic expectations for each of these teams, and then we manually adjust those that we think are outliers, either up or down.
Kelly Ford joins the show here on Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. So, Kelly, you tooted a big horn right there, like the guy in the Ricola commercials tooting the 15-foot long curved horn. You tooted a big horn there. So I know a lot of people like to do this. I want to know if you've done this as well. They'll go back and they'll compare their power ratings to brackets of the past. So I'm curious, if you went rated just off of your power ratings matchup, this team should win this matchup, this team should win that matchup. How has your model done in brackets of the past, in seasons of the past?
Yeah, no, Diesel, it's a great question. And yeah, it's the way that we hold each other or hold ourselves accountable, I should say, is the proof's in the pudding. And every single offseason, we'll go back and we'll look at how did our predictions do against what actually happened in reality. I'll be honest, my football model is much more robust, much more comprehensive than my basketball model. But I still have done some back testing in the basketball space. And I would say that I am very happy with my average margin of error. When you say, how have you done in the brackets? We have to frame that conversation, because my recommendation my numbers recommendation for who you should pick depends on a lot of different factors of your bracket pool. How big is your pool? Is there an upset bonus? Are you getting a seed bonus or a seed multiplier? How's the scoring work, and what's the size of the pool? Because that will inform the optimal strategy for you to pick games within your pool. But if you're looking strictly at, hey, the K Ford rating said this team had a 67% chance to win this game. If we go back and look, my bands, if you will, teams that my numbers suggest have a 40 to 50% chance to win, historically, and I say that over the course of the last 5 years, my football data set's much larger, they have won in that band, 40 to 50%. It's not going to hit every time. It's not the end-all be-all, like I said, but generally speaking, over the last 5 years, if I have assigned this set of games a 68% chance to win, it will fall within that band of happening 60 to 70% of the time on a very high clip. So I'm very happy with where the power rating model is. Of course, Ken Pom, he's the gold standard. He's the one that everyone wants to be like. He's the one everyone's shooting for. And that will continue to be the gold standard. But I look at my numbers and compare to Ken Pom all the time. There are certain teams that I'll have higher or lower, but I'm not off by more than, 5 or 10 spots on any given team, almost from 1 all the way down to 362. So I feel good about where the model is. But again, it's just a hobby. It's something I'm doing for fun, at least for now. We'll see where it goes. But I do back testing, and the results have been very positive and encouraging. I'll do it again this summer once we get through this season as well.
Most overseeded or underseeded teams, Kelly? What do you got?
So what are we talking about here, Mark? Are we talking about relative to their power rating or relative to the resume that they put together?
Either one you like. I'm more interested in the ratings that you have, right? Like, for example, Kelly, I thought South Carolina probably should have been 2 seed lines higher than Clemson. South Carolina 5, Clemson is 7. They were both a 6. I thought South Carolina got screwed there. Auburn as a 4 seed is a joke. They're number 7 in the AP poll. I could argue they're a 1 and they're a 4 seed with what they did in the SEC tournament. So I'm just curious, based on the numbers that you're seeing, who are you surprised was as low of a seed as they are? And who is a seed that you're like, oh my gosh, this team is going to really outperform the seed that the committee gave them?
Yeah, let me see here. I can look quickly and make these comparisons. So Auburn is a team that they are the number 15 overall seed by the committee. They're a 4 seed on the 4 seed line. They're my number 4 power rated team.
See what I'm saying?
So it's unfortunate for Auburn that they're in UConn's bracket, because those are 2 top 4 power rated teams. But Auburn is certainly a team that I have number 4 in the power ratings, and the committee has it number 15. But again, power ratings is not what the committee's using, but that's how we'll answer the question in this particular case. Gonzaga, they're another one. I have number 14 power rating on Gonzaga. They are the number 21 overall seed by the committee. I'll give you a third. Michigan State, I have them power rated number 20. The committee has them number 33. That's a 9 seed in the bracket. If we look the other way, who does the committee have higher than the power ratings? Let me see here. North Carolina, they're a number 1 seed. That's the 4th number 1 seed. My power ratings have them at number 9 nationally. So to me, they'd be a 3 seed if you're seeding strictly off of power rating, which of course we don't do, and I'm not advocating for by any stretch of the imagination. But they're a team that my numbers would suggest has a better seed than their power rating. Marquette, that's another one at the 2 line. They're the number 7 overall seed for the committee. I have them at number 13, and I'll give you another one who's up at the top here. Kentucky. Kentucky's a 3 seed, number 11 by the committee. I have them number 18 in my power rating. I guess you could say Kansas as well, who the committee has as a 4 seed. They're number 19 in my power rating. So those are some teams kind of at the top of the bracket, whether that's in the seed line or in my power ratings, that are grossly misseeded, again, if we were going strictly off power ratings, which of course we're not.
Kelly, everybody traditionally looks at the 5-12 matchup as the place where the big upsets are going to come. So what is the biggest in your mind, or most likely upset in that 5-12, or is the 5-12 this year even going to be the big upset? Do you think that might come in the 6-11 or in the 4-13?
I'm scrolling quickly through all of these, all of my 4 region graphics that I have up at K Ford Ratings on X. It looks to me like my best 12 seed chance to win, I have Grand Canyon. James Madison. I have James Madison with a 33% chance, a 1 in 3 chance to beat Wisconsin. That is my highest first round expected win percentage for a 12 seed. And then if I look at some other ones, if you're going 11 seed, unfortunately for Clemson fans, that would be New Mexico for me. I have New Mexico with a 51% chance to win, so actually favoring them ever so slightly in their first round matchup. If you're going down to 13s, history says a 13 will beat a 4. About once on average in any given year, a 13 will beat a 4. If you're trying to pick which one that is, good luck to you. All these numbers for me are around 10%-ish, except for Samford. I have Samford with a 20% chance to knock off Kansas in the first round, and that is the highest 13 seed percent chance to win in the first round. So that would be the one that I'd be going for if I was going to pick one of those.
Last one for you, bud. How do you make the tournament better? What would you do?
Mark, it's a really good question. I don't have a surefire way to make it better. I do have a way I think you make it worse, and that's by expanding it, even modest expansion. I'm seeing 72, I'm seeing 76, I'm seeing 80. Guys, if anything, I'd like to make it 64 again. To me, bigger is not always better. That's kind of my motto across all sports. I know we've talked at length about my football thoughts on that, Mark, but it's a great tournament. March Madness is special. So many millions of people become very invested. I mean, billions of dollars are wagered on this thing. The public interest is off the charts. I think it's pretty darn close to perfect. And to me, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't have a lot of surefire ways to make it better, but I'll tell you a way I think we make it worse is by expansion. So that's what I'd say there, Mark. And I know you said that was the last question you had for me. I do want to make sure I get something in here. Congratulations. Seeing the news here earlier today about your professional next step and what you're going to be doing up there at 97.1 The Ticket in Detroit. Tell you what, you're a little bit closer to Indianapolis, so hopefully that means some in-person beers between you and I can be more easily attained now. But congratulations. I know you've been doing a great job down there in South Carolina, and I'm excited for you and what's coming next up in the state of Michigan. So I appreciate you always having me on, and you and Diesel are the best.
Man, Kelly, number one, thank you so much. Number two, do you know the first time I ever had a conversation with my wife about the ticket was when we were driving through Indianapolis, your city, to go to my wife's father's funeral in Oscoda, Michigan. And I was like, we were passing through the outskirts of Detroit, and it was August of last year. And I said, babe, what if? I said, man, like getting to the decision maker at a place like that is like contacting the Wizard of Oz, you know? And it just seemed like totally unlikely. And then 6 months later, here we are, right? Here we are. Kelly, absolutely, my friend. Indianapolis, where you live, is a gorgeous city. And you and I are going to be hanging more frequently than you'd like, Kelly. More frequently than you'd like, okay? The knock on the door is me. If your mini helmets happen to go missing, I didn't do it, okay? Appreciate you, buddy.
That's awesome, Mark. I can't wait. Congrats again. Appreciate you and Diesel, and I hope everyone enjoys March Madness. It's darn near perfect, so I can't wait.
Best event in sports. Kelly Ford, K-Ford Ratings is where you get to him. TheLines.com. Kelly Ford from TheLines.com is where you guys can get to him as well. Oregon, South Carolina. Why is everyone picking this as their upset pick of the bracket? Does that have teeth or does it not? It's Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. Rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Awesome to have you with us. So, my friends, Oregon, South Carolina. ESPN came out with their list of most likely upsets today. Okay? Most likely upsets. And let me tell you, this really burns my brownies. All right, 10 most likely first-round stunners. Guess who number one is? New Mexico over Clemson. Guess what the second most likely stunner is? Oregon over South Carolina. I did an interview with our Odyssey brethren in Portland, Oregon today, and they asked me, you know, the tone was like, hey, Mark, does South Carolina realize they're not the real USC? And they don't really think they're going to beat us at Oregon, right? Like Dana Altman, Oregon head coach, never loses in the first round. And I'm like, brother, like everyone is just looking at the name. The pollsters all year just looked at the name, South Carolina, and just assume they were no good. If you can helmet scout 4 teams like Kentucky and overinflate them above and beyond who they are, you can underinflate South Carolina. Well, I got news for you. The Gamecocks are a better team than Kentucky this year. Sorry. They've beaten them. They're a better team. All right. And it's like everyone's trending towards picking these upsets based on just based on BS, based on names, based on the past. I'm not used to Clemson being good, so I'm going to pick New Mexico over them. I'm not used to South Carolina being good, so I'm going to pick Oregon over them. It's a bunch of hooey, man, and it's a bunch of BS. Let me tell you something. How many of us actually know who we are? All right? Like in terms of who you are, right? So many of us think we're sports cars, but so many of us are actually station wagons. You're not a sports car, station wagon. That's what we are, right? South Carolina is a normal four-door sedan, but they've souped that thing up to the best of their ability. The Gamecocks are the blue-collar job in the white-collar neighborhood. That's what they are, okay? They're not flashy. They don't have a lot of style, but they're filled with substance, all right? They are the steak with nothing on it. They're all you need. They play unbelievable defense. They hold you below your season averages. They play as efficient as can be, and they do that with a Lamont Paris that had to throw those Island of Misfit toys together without time to get them ready. You know, Lamont Paris kills the excuse for a guy like Shane Beamer. Shane, why does it take you time? It doesn't take Lamont Paris time. He lost G.G. Jackson. He loses everyone on the roster, right? B.J. Mack, Michie Johnson, they average 13 points a game. Again, these are not stats. The best players on the team don't blow you away with their statistical prowess. But, brother, that's why we say stats are like bikinis. They show some things, but not all. All right? They show some things, but not all. They will beat you with their cohesiveness and their defense, so on and so forth. I think the Gamecocks beat Oregon. I do. Oregon, 1 top 25 win all year. South Carolina, 3. 3-1 in top 25 wins. I was looking at Oregon's resume today, and I just got to be honest with you guys. Like I wasn't blown away. I wasn't even overly impressed. Okay, they do have a win over Arizona, and Oregon stole a bid in the tournament that they were probably not going to get. Okay, Oregon was not going to be getting this bid because they won the Pac-12 conference tournament. In the Pac-12 conference tournament, they beat the 3 seed, the 2 seed, and the 1 seed. They are your rightful Pac-12 tournament champion. But you're going through their regular season, and again, everyone's picking Oregon to win. Number 17, Alabama beat them 99-91. Okay? That was one ranked team that they played. Syracuse beat Oregon by 20. Syracuse beat Oregon by 20. They had a stretch in January where they lost 3 out of 4 games, 4 out of 6 games, 5 out of 7 games in late January. They had a stretch here in March where they lost 3 out of 4 to Cal, Arizona, and Colorado. Then they go on this little run. They win the Pac-12 championship. But my friends, Arizona in the Pac-12 tournament, Arizona playing their 3rd game in 3 days, is the only top 25 win that Oregon has all year. Now, who you're going to have to account for is N'Faly Dante, the Oregon big / center. He's one of those lean 6'11 guys, averages 2 block shots a game, 16 points, 9 rebounds. And the guys I was talking to in Portland today, Dirt and Sprague, were raving about him. He's back. He's healthy. That's a guy you're going to have to figure out down low, right? How do you prevent him from going nuts on you? But this is an Oregon team that did not put it all together until very, very late in the year. If I am Lamont Paris, I am saying to myself and my team, I'm not letting this dude beat me. I am not letting N'Faly Dante beat me. And that's just going to be the way it goes. That cat is not going to beat me. He's going to be doubled every single time he touches the ball. He's one of those athletic freaks. He makes some plays, and the announcers say that was an Akeem Olajuwon-like move. That's what you're up against Oregon. But I think a lot of times people are picking based on what Oregon's done in the past. Oh, Oregon's won as a 12 seed. They've made runs to the Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four. It's a different team. And you're not used to South Carolina doing anything. But now South Carolina's got a real team and a real good team. And no offense, Clemson fans, the Gamecocks are the best team in the state of South Carolina. By far. I don't know, guys. Is Jay Billis really right? Like, are the Gamecocks really? Is the state of South Carolina really not going to win a game in the entire tournament? Say it ain't so. Clemson is favored. South Carolina is favored. College of Charleston has a shot against Alabama. Almost beat San Diego State a year ago. San Diego State went all the way to the Final Four. What do you say? All right, my friends. So we've got a major announcement to make at number 1 in our top 5 at 5. It is coming your way next, right here on the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel, we are the Fan Upstate. What's good, my friends? This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Thrilled to have you guys with us. Could not do it without you. Here's how you can take part in the show. You can give us a ring on the Renewal by Anderson fan phone, 844-326-3663. And the text line is there for you at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go on the show. Loads of texts coming in. We have announcements to make for you today. All of those will happen in this segment right at the top 5 at 5. But, my friends, without further ado, it is now time for the aforementioned top 5 at 5. The top 5 biggest sports stories of the day, the top 5 topics we're discussing. Ladies and gentlemen of the Upstate, Offsiders, the top 5 at 5 starts right now.
And now, the top 5 at 5.
And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm testing you, Cole. Testing you, buddy. Hit it!
5.
There we go at number 5. I think there are 6 teams, 6 that can win the Super Bowl, and only 6. Those teams are, without further ado, the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals are one of them. Why? You get Joe Burrow back. You get Geno Stone back. You get more athletic at the running back position with Zach Moss. You add Mike Gesicki, tight end. I'm feeling good about the Natty. Next up for me, the Detroit Lions. Of course, the Detroit Lions are up there. Major upgrade on the offensive line today for the Detroit Lions. They had Carlton Davis, great zone corner. They had defensive end Marcus Davenport. They had Clemson's own DJ Reader. How about it, my friends? Detroit getting better. Third team, in my opinion, that can win the Super Bowl. How about the Green Bay Packers? Yeah, man. I mean, teams usually don't win it all their first year, but they win it all after they've got a chance to climb a little bit from one year to next. Green Bay did that last year. They'll do it this year as well. How about Josh Jacobs, the running back addition, has led the league in rushing. The stud safety Xavier McKinney. Why was he such a critical addition for Green Bay? Well, Green Bay forced a tight throw from quarterbacks in a tight window, only 12.4% of their pass attempts last year. That was the third lowest rate in the NFL. Xavier McKinney forced a tight throw 30.8% of the time. That was best among all safeties. Give Green Bay a major check for that. Then we look at the Houston Texans. Houston Texans, C.J. Stroud, year 2. What can he do for an encore? Good gosh. They add the linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair, Jeff Okudah. They add Joe Mixon as the new starting running back. They do lose Jonathan Grenard, but how about as well the addition of defensive end Danielle Hunter? Wow. They get him for less than dollar-for-dollar rate for stud defensive ends, 16.5 sacks a year ago for Danielle. Double-digit sacks for Danielle, 4 of his last 5 seasons. Number 5, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs, of course. Look, they're looking for help on the offensive line. There are some big names out there who could deliver it, but they've also looked to improve that wide receiver position. They did so with Hollywood Brown, Marquise Brown on the outside. Also added the punt god, Matt Araiza, tight end Irv Smith, and brought back Chris Jones, their defensive MVP. Have L'Jarius Sneed on a franchise deal. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. Do they keep him or do they trade him and bring back Drew Tranquill, an unheralded linebacker for the Chiefs? And then for me, Philadelphia. Oh, Mark, Philadelphia, haven't they had their day in the sun and gone out to pasture? Well, my friends, maybe not. Saquon Barkley, the big addition, 3 years, $37.75 million. Bryce Huff, they get him stud edge rusher from the Jets. All Bryce Huff did was go second in the NFL in pass rush win rate. They bring back C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, the Florida Gator. After a year in Detroit, he goes back to Philadelphia. Interestingly, said some rough things about the fans in Philadelphia on his way out. Now has to kiss ass to get back in their good graces. And you got linebacker Devin White coming over from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Of course, we should not be surprised. Philadelphia's general manager is Howie Roseman, who happened to be at the University of Florida the same time I was there. Just a regular old student. My 6 teams that can win a Super Bowl this year: Cincinnati, Detroit, Green Bay, Houston, Kansas City, and Philadelphia. Next up,
4.
At number 4 today, Clemson is suing the ACC. Guys, look, this is a headline story today, right? No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I know if you're a Clemson fan, what you're going to say is, good. We need to get out of this. We are at a competitive disadvantage. But who signed the grant of rights deal, Clemson fans? Who signed that? You did. Your school did. Your former university president and athletic director did, right? You signed that. When you sign a lease and you no longer like the lease, you're on the hook to honor the terms of the lease. When you sign a contract, don't like the terms of the contract, you're on the hook to honor the terms of that contract. Remember when we broke the news August 2nd, 2021, that Clemson and Florida State we're looking to get out of the ACC and join the SEC? And everyone laughed at us. Everyone said, you're making up stuff. Well, you guys have seen that we've been proven correct. In this lawsuit filed today in Pickens County, South Carolina, the Clemson calls the ACC's grant of rights and exit fees unconscionable and unenforceable. It also calls the ACC's view that the league's grant of media rights would allow the league to own Clemson's media rights after it left the league a nonsensical reading, wrong and inconsistent with the plain language of that agreement. The total cost of the exits could cost Clemson $572 million to get out of the league. Could you believe that? $572 million.
What is that, like 3 years of SEC media payouts?
3 years of SEC media payouts. How about it?
Well, here's the best part about this, Mark. This is getting spicy. I don't know if you've seen this yet, but this is for immediate release. From the ACC, a statement from Jim Ryan, chair of the ACC Board of Directors, and ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips, PhD. That's just like, unzipping and slapping it on the table when you put PhD in a letterhead like this. Quote, the ACC remains confident that its agreements with all its members will be affirmed by the courts. Clemson, along with all ACC members, voluntarily signed and re-signed the 2013 and 2016 Grant of Rights, which is binding through 2036. In addition, Clemson agreed to the process and procedures for withdrawal. The conference's legal counsel will vigorously enforce the agreement and bylaws in the best interests of the ACC's current and incoming members.
Ooh, boy.
Shots fired.
Oh, boy.
Pew, pew. Shots fired.
How about that? Next up.
3.
Why is it that Clemson against New Mexico and South Carolina against Oregon are ESPN's top-ranked, most likely upsets? Does that burn your brownies the way it burns mine? I mean, I'm serious. On New Mexico Clemson, it says, yes, we hardly agree with the other laptops. Vegas social media and know-it-all relative. This looks like a game where the Lobos are straight-up favorites. What? The University of New Mexico's Jamal Mashburn Jr., Jalen House form arguably one of the better backcourts in the entire field. The committee might view this bid as having been stolen by New Mexico because they won the Mountain West Conference tournament, but Rick Pitino's son group is quite capable of advancing. On the Gamecocks side, it says Dana Altman in Oregon peaking in March is a thing. We've seen the Ducks steal a bit a few times now, and they are unbeaten in the first round under Altman, including a pair of double-digit wins as a 12 seed. South Carolina has been one of the feel-good stories of the season, but in a toss-up game, having the best player on the court doesn't hurt. Oregon has that in 6'11" in Folly Dante, who happens to be playing his best basketball right now. I call BS on this, man. I call BS. South Carolina gets you to play their tempo, okay? They're holding opponents 8 points under their season average for the year. Oregon has just one top 25 win on the whole season. South Carolina has 3. There's a reason the Gamecocks have been in the top 15 all year. They're that good, okay? Yeah, they got smoked by Auburn. Who doesn't? Auburn, you just heard Kelly Ford say, is one of the 4 best teams in America. So I like South Carolina to win against Oregon. Now it feels like the upset would be South Carolina winning that game. What say you? Next up.
2.
All right, guys, we've got not one but 2 announcements to make for you right here on the show. And at number 2 on the day, it is my announcement, guys, that this week is my last on the Fan Upstate. And it's hard for me to say, honestly. It really is hard for me to say, but I want to bring you guys into the why. For years, I've carried around a Post-it note with 3 stations on it, okay? My dream was to one day land a full-time position at one of them. Today, that dream is realized. I'm grateful and excited to share I've accepted a full-time host position at 97.1 The Ticket in Detroit, recently named one of the 5 best sports stations in the country. In this role, I'll host throughout the schedule for them, and I'm going to do some pre- and post-game shows for the Detroit Lions, Detroit Tigers, Detroit Red Wings, and Detroit Pistons. A friend of ours who's appeared on the Fan Upstate drafting for the Detroit Lions in our media mock draft, Jim Costa, held this role previously. Needless to say, I have big shoes to fill. Folks told me that I wouldn't like Detroit. And when I visited the city last month, I can tell you they were right. I didn't like it. I loved it. I'm moving, guys, next week to the Motown City. And they are on fire with sports passion, and I can't wait to get going. A big part of the reason for the decision is my wife's family is in Detroit and the surrounding area too. But all of that excitement is met with sadness because my family at Odyssey Greenville and the Fan Upstate have been amazing to me, and I will miss them dearly. Mark Hendricks, Steve Senecrapi, the ability to work with Diesel, all of these people, thank you for your unwavering belief in me. And to you, our listeners, thank you so much for welcoming me to this amazing place, the Upstate. It's been an unbelievable honor to be your afternoon drive host and sometimes your roast. It's been a blast. To my Clemson fans and friends, you guys welcome me to your family with open arms. To my Gamecocks, well, 90% of you were great. And to Ingles Markets, you were the best title sponsor a host could have. From the fiery debate to the fun, I wouldn't change a thing. Thanks for the privilege. The best decision I ever made was coming here. My friends, it is also time to let you know what is going to become of this particular slot on the station. And with that, I cede the microphone, which I will do permanently this Friday at 7 o'clock p.m. Let's hit it with number one.
It's real, Mark. You're gone. You're going to leave a Mark-shaped dent in the chair. Let's see if we can turn that camera this way just a little bit. You're going to leave a Mark-shaped dent in that chair that, let's be real, my ass is never going to be able to fill. But maybe with the help of my good friend on the other side of the board over here, Cole Bryson, we're going to be able to do exactly that. We are introducing the newest show on the Fan Upstate. It will be called Wire to Wire. What is Wire to Wire? Wire to Wire is like when a team scores the first bucket and they win the game. When a race car driver leads the first lap and he wins the race. We plan on covering every single element of upstate sports fandom that we possibly can do. We're going to cover the South Carolina Gamecocks and the Clemson Tigers with the equal amount of fervor that we always have on this station. We'll be covering the Carolina Panthers. You'll get more Atlanta Braves coverage than you've gotten on this station in a long time. You'll be getting Atlanta Hawks coverage, Atlanta Falcons coverage. You'll be getting high school coverage. And Cole Bryson right here beside me, man, he is the absolute best, most plugged in person you could ever hope to do a show with when it comes to local high school sports in the upstate. And buddy, I mean, I am absolutely thrilled to start this journey. You and I are it's going to take us a couple days of growing pains to figure this thing out. But by God, we're going to do it. We're going to be ripping and roaring come 3 o'clock on Monday afternoon. Well, they put us behind a mic because we're no good in front of a camera. Yeah.
I have to give credit. Diesel came up with Wire to Wire, and I loved it the instant that I heard it. And I think that it is going to be a great example of the program, of the show, of our coverage of local sports. And Diesel, I couldn't be more excited to be doing it with you. We've worked together several times when I filled in, and you said the best. We do have big shoes to fill as the MARC that's left the chair over there. We're going to do our best. And I feel like we appreciate the opportunity, but most of all, we're going to bring it and we hope that you can be a part of the program. Whoever you pull for, whoever you love, whoever you hate, we are here for you. And I think I know we are starting this thing really, really soon. As Mark said, his last day is Friday. So buckle up.
Yep. And
Mark, for you, thank you. We couldn't have done it without you. Literally, you would have left without you, right? So when I say we couldn't have done it without you, I mean it, buddy. But huge thanks to you. Best of luck in your new venture. Diesel and I are super pumped to get going here in the upstate. And
yep.
Well, I do want to say, too, guys, that this is so well-deserved. This has been a long time coming. You know, I've sensed for a long time, Diesel has been chomping at the bit for an opportunity like this. You've known, Diesel, that you're ready for this opportunity and that the talent has never been in question. And it's awesome that, in this company at Odyssey Greenville, you have the chance to move up if you've earned it. If you've earned it, and you most certainly have. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
This is, I know, and guys, I'm going to be honest with you, okay? With all that Diesel's had on his plate, and he's agreed with me on this off the air, like this show is like a person and a half. You know, it's like me, and it's like half of Diesel because he's got to do a million things at the same time. My belief is, guys, that any two-person show, you know, you could have the best host in the world, and a two-person show can be better than that show because you got more interactivity and more banter. Now, Diesel did the best he could with us, but he's got so much on his plate. In this role, in this position, Diesel moves over to the one, and he's on the host side of the chair, and Diesel and Cole will be splitting duties for production of the show. So, I mean, I think it's awesome. Cole, I'm incredibly ecstatic for you. You have worked so hard. I know I told you, Cole, and I've told our audience many a times that there is nobody that does their job in the upstate better than you did high school football for us, whatever their job is. You did a better job covering high school football than I did hosting Afternoon Drive, okay? You did a better job. Like, nobody did their role, their job better than you did. And so I'm so happy that this is what happened. I also want to tell you guys this. I figured this out about a month ago. And nobody told me anything, okay? Nobody told me anything. I knew nothing. I had no scoop. I knew nothing. I had no, you know, Mark Hendricks didn't pull me in his office. I said to my wife a month ago, I said, Hendricks is going to figure out a way to get Cole and Diesel in here together.
You know, something is meant to be when multiple people, independent of each other, all come to the same, you know, eureka conclusion all at the same time. I had the thought, when I knew that Cole was in the running, and I knew you were going to be a really, really valued candidate for this position, and I knew that I was in the running, I thought to myself, wouldn't it be great if he put Cole and I together? Because now, instead of having one host caliber talent hosting the show, we've got two. So the abilities of the show are going to grow. The amount of content and the type of content and the quality of content that we're able to create is going to grow. I can't say thank you enough for, you know, 3.5, 4 years of learning under you, Mark.
Man, sure.
I can assure everyone that we will not be rolling over and letting the South Carolina Gamecock athletic program scratch our bellies. We will not be letting Clemson scratch behind our ears and make our little tails wag. Oh, no. Oh, no. We're going to be bringing it. We are going to be bringing it against Clemson and South Carolina. When you do something stupid, when you do something great, we're going to be talking about it. Trust us on that one. We are not going to be letting up at all. And I got to say so much thank you and appreciation to Mark Hendricks and to Steve Senecroppy for both having the vision to put this thing together. Yeah.
Once again, if you are a listener of this program, we invite you to stick around because we're going to bring it each and every weekday, same time slot right here.
And of course, on top of that, we get to continue the incredible and fruitful relationship that the Fan Upstate has with Ingles Markets. Mark, your last live show at Ingles is going to be tomorrow. Cole and I will be live on location next Wednesday at 410 Pelzer Highway in Easley. So you'll finally get a chance to come out and meet me. I've been stuck here for years as you've been going out and having a blast at Ingles Markets week in and week out. I'm excited to get out there on the road and to bring Cole with me. That's just going to add so many elements to the show, man. This is going to be a lot of fun, and I think we're going to create some really great content that the audience is really, really going to love.
So, guys, we got a ton to unpack here, okay? An absolute ton to unpack here. We've dumped more on you in a segment than anyone should ever dump on their audience. We're going to give you a couple minutes to digest it. This is not an April Fool's joke. There's a reason we didn't do. You know, April Fool's jokes are actually illegal. Like you can't do them legally. You'll learn that. You'll learn that. Yeah.
Oh, says the email that you'll be getting from Mark Hendricks a few days before April 1st.
Yeah, you will get that. Yeah, you will get them.
Read and heed those emails.
Yeah, you certainly will. So, guys, we'll let you unpack it. If you want to call in, share with us your thoughts, text in. We'll get to your calls. We'll get to your texts and so much more. A lot of changes going on here on the Fan Upstate, and honored as always to have your support. Back after this.
Where opinions collide and sports come alive. This is Offsides with Mark Ryan on the Fan Upstate. Take control of your listening experience with Rewind on the Odyssey app. Missed a jaw-dropping moment? No worries.
The Odyssey app makes it easy.
With Rewind, you can relive big moments from Mark Ryan, Rob Brown, Jim Rome, and more. Don't miss a beat. Just hit Rewind with the Odyssey app on the Fan Upstate.
Appreciate you guys being on the stream, the entire show, each and every show. Thank you guys so much. And we will, we'll see you on Monday. Cole and I will see you on Monday.
Let's go.
New show, Wire to Wire.
Let's do it, guys.
Wednesday night, low 42, high of 70 on Thursday. Mainly sunny, chance of showers on Friday. I'm meteorologist Laura Lockwood on the Fan Upstate. Right now,